Yeah. We just out here at this bus stop and, just doing what we do. Grinding, talking shit, chopping up some food for thought. And, we ain't afraid to talk about anything. So sit back, relax, put on your seatbelt, and let's go for a ride on this podcast at the bus stop.
Hey, we're back with another edition of the Bus Stop Podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Erfan.
And we have a very special edition. We're actually on location, so we're away from the bus stop.
Our first time, I think.
It is our first time, so it's a very special episode. We got a great guest today, and obviously what's been dominating the news lately is this 50 Shades of Grey stuff. Mm-hmm. And you know what? We wanted to get a little taste of the real deal. So we're here on location to visit with Sasha Mizaree.
Yeah.
Sasha, welcome.
Right.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Great. So yeah,
Making
thanks.
it easier on me.
Thanks for having us. Normally we would do it at the bus stop, but obviously.
I don't think we could do this at a bus stop.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool environment in here, so we'll have to kind of describe for the folks listening.
I was thinking if one of you could be a volunteer, we can have some very special, a very special podcast.
Okay, well,
nothing scary. Don't worry.
Okay, well we'll do some rock paper scissors. Yeah.
I had an idea as you were sort of talking, and I definitely think that might be interesting. It's good for first timers.
Okay, so we'll get into that in a second.
They look at each other nervously.
Well, why don't we kind of describe where we are right now? So we're sitting on. How would you describe this couch?
Gothic and custom made.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Probably not found at IKEA.
No, I had to have that custom made. The same guy that makes all my dungeon furniture made this. It's the first couch he's ever made, but he managed it really well. So
yeah.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. Obviously, so you have somebody to make all this stuff custom for you then?
Yeah, because it's fairly so the floggers you can get sort of generally at a sex store or something. Though not all sex stores. Most sex stores carry like the sort of really shitty fake floggers that are kind of like 50 Shades of Grey type, which are very flimsy. So if you want something for professional use, you have to get like something that'll be kind of in the corner, made of leather, and much more expensive. So in Vancouver, I found some. There's a great store. Am I allowed to say specific store names?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Little Sisters is a great store. Pre-app used to be open. Unfortunately, they're not anymore. So, but as far as the dungeon furniture is pretty difficult and very expensive if you try to order it online. And quite frankly, the quality I found was very terrible. But luckily, I met somebody in Vancouver by kind of, asking people, and he's very talented, and he ended up making everything because I just was very impressed with his work.
So for the people at home listening, explain to us what we're looking at. So what is this big thing in front of me here?
Well, that's the St. Andrew's Cross. It's sort of like a staple in any dungeon. Okay. Next to it, I just have sort of a little matching looking board where all my floggers and different things hang. And then next to it is sort of a throne, but the middle seat part actually comes out, and the reason why you have the red thing underneath it that kind of elevates the person that would lay underneath is because it's a face-sitting throne, but that's more for personal use. I'm not really into face-sitting clients. Okay. And you have some like things to tie people up to, like sort of adjustment, like the little hooks for restraints or whatever you call it.
So to clarify, a face-sitting client, that's when you sit on their face.
Well, I wouldn't. So, like I said, it's more for personal use because this isn't just for professional use.
Right.
And then right next to it is this kind of red thing, which is basically for strap-on play or for spanking. It's to make it easier on the client to bend over because not everybody is, very
flexible and mobile. Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, you have the parts where you can restrain them, and then right next to it is a gynecological table with adjustments, like a BDSM adjusted one, and underneath it, like on the little shelf thing, I have my violet wand attachments, my sounding kit, A little bit far ahead, I have just a massage table with some restraints and chains attached to it, sort of as a little bed thing. And then in the corner there, though you couldn't see it, is my table with all my like little toys, like butt plugs and other things.
Okay, so you pretty much have everything covered.
Well, in this room, and then there's that other room that you saw.
Yeah, and we'll go visit the other room in a little bit. Obviously, we have tons of questions for you today. But wanted to start off by talking about a story out of the U.S. A lady in Oklahoma was just charged for biting off her boyfriend's penis.
Didn't that happen a while ago as well, or is it the same thing?
So we talked about another one where a guy was cheating and she chopped off his penis.
Okay,
now
so
this,
that's the one I heard of.
Actually chopped it off twice.
How can you?
So he went to the hospital and got it reattached, and then she went to the hospital and cut it off a second time.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah. So
I think a dog took it the second time.
yeah. So now he's without a penis. So
Oh my god.
now here's another guy. Actually, I should clarify. She didn't actually complete biting it off. I guess it was like maybe half off, and they were able to stitch it on. So.
Oh my god.
We're obviously pro penis. We hate hearing stories about this,
No,
but I'm curious. Yeah, if how would you react to a boyfriend cheating?
Not like that.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
That would not be my reaction. I would just feel betrayed and find another one, I guess.
And that's kind of our point is, the best revenge is to just, move on and live a happy life elsewhere.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Mutilating someone's body is never okay.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of work too to go chop off a penis. Like it's
On this one, biting it.
yeah.
That sounds like very.
So he was
difficult to
asleep.
do.
He was asleep, and I guess she, decided to. He woke up to that basically.
And there was a guy recently who woke up to his testicles chopped off.
Oh, I forgot about that
Yeah.
one. And that one was some sort of.
It's a news anchor too.
Yeah.
Famous guy.
That was some sort of. He was drugged.
Yeah.
And it is like the underground, like the people who steal organs and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
yeah,
my
so they took his
god.
testicles.
Which
You
I
can-
didn't.
You can steal testicles for any sort of a medical reason?
Well, this is the thing. I wasn't aware of it being something that was. I can understand why people would want like black market kidneys. I'm not
Yeah.
sure why they
Well, I
would
think
want
you can-
testicles.
Might be some group that worships testicles and they think it has medicinal powers or
Really?
something.
Okay.
I don't know.
It was in Russia or something, right?
Something like that. I'll have to
Yeah.
go
I'm
back and check.
Russian, so that makes me feel.
Hey, no judgment. It could happen anywhere.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the proper punishment and stuff happen to the people doing it, because that's pretty much psychotic.
Yeah, like this poor guy who is without a penis. I mean, I don't condone cheating, but I mean,
No, but
he doesn't deserve to lose his penis twice.
Well, no, that's those two things just you that's not an appropriate thing to do to anyone.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about people losing their penises and stuff
Alright.
and pain.
I wonder what that could be.
No,
What
but-
can that segue into?
I'm just wondering, so when you have a client in here, they're being, quote unquote punished.
Yeah.
Right? So is there a favorite safe word that guys have when they say that when they just can't take it anymore?
Like pineapples?
No, generally the sort of most default safe word system to use is just red and yellow.
Oh, okay.
I've never really had anybody choose a different safe word, and I've never heard of any other DOMs using anything else.
Okay.
It just kind of seems to work intuitively. Yellow means kind of slow down, and red is like something is wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I have so many questions going through my head, but let's start in the beginning. So how did you get into this line of work?
Well, it was kind of a transition. I started sort of dabbling with different types of sex work, sort of like webcamming, and did a little bit of stripping, and I did some, I don't know what to call it really. There's a website called What's Your Price, and you basically go out on non-sexual dates with guys and they pay you.
We talked
Yeah,
about
we
that
talked
before.
about this. So
Yeah.
you've actually used this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that's
how was
cool.
your experience?
It was really nice, actually. I've met a lot of really intelligent, interesting guys, but often they're from out of town, so it's difficult to kind of stay friends with them or anything. But yeah, I've met some pretty cool people.
So maybe you can clarify for me then. So you're saying it's non-sexual, so they're obviously not expecting anything for the exchange of money. It is just they're looking for companionship for the night, or someone to talk to, or what is the?
Well, basically the idea behind it, I mean, obviously there are going to be guys on there that just expect it to be like an escorting site, but it actually states on there that like we don't allow, like that's not what they allow, basically.
Right.
So the idea behind it is most guys on there, I would say, are looking for like a sugar baby or something like that.
Okay.
And so, well, the website states their whole thing as basically you can get a first date with a girl that wouldn't otherwise, this is going to sound terrible, but I mean, that's just what says on the website, that wouldn't otherwise, message you back on a regular dating website. And then so basically you get that chance, and then if she likes you as a person, then whatever happens is up to you. But basically, yeah, like that first date is just, you pay for them to actually show up and all that stuff.
So if there's a second and third date, is that free, or you keep paying?
That's basically it's just what's your price for the first date.
Oh, okay.
The rest is up to you, and if you become their sugar baby or whatever, then you have your own arrangement. That was like not my intention. I was like looking for different things. At the time I thought that there could be such a thing as a non-sexual sugar baby. I was very wrong. So it didn't last very long, but it was an interesting experience, and I never like lied or misled any of the guys. So. And yeah, surprisingly, a lot of guys will be, fine with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing men can never do. Like, nobody would ever pay us to go on a date with them.
No, men, there's no value there.
I mean, I've heard of, like, young, hunky guys being, like, sort of, like, what are they called? I guess also sugar babies?
Yeah, it's kind of the reverse for older women. Totally.
You can be, I think, but it's probably just a lot more rare.
Yeah.
I know J-Lo has Casper.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that his real name?
That's his real name.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's like 24 and she's almost 48 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say she's at least mid-40s, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so what's myprice.com, and then how do you transition into...
It's what's yourprice.com.
What's your price?
You got to give the real... Because I'm going to drive business there.
Yeah.
No, I've actually had, like, I've gotten girls into stuff like this, because a lot of girls in, like, college or something, they're just like, I'm so poor, I'm, like, struggling, and I'm like, I've tried it all, basically. Here you go, some information. Like, I don't mind sharing that stuff.
Right. So then when did you learn about the world of Dom? And how did you kind of transition into that?
Yeah, sorry, I was totally getting to that, but
totally
forgot. No. Yeah, so that was kind of like how I guess, gained my comfort level, because I started out very kind of pretty innocent, and I think a lot of people, do start out, like, not being able to imagine themselves doing this kind of work.
Right.
And so, I've done different things, and some stuff I'm sort of, like, there's a bigger list of things I've done. Like, I think there's also burlesque.
Okay.
And stuff like that. And so nothing seemed stable enough, whatever. And it kind of ties into my whole sort of brain injury situation.
Right,
everything
which
like
we'll get
that.
into, yep.
Yeah, so long story short, I decided, I couldn't handle school anymore. I was thinking, okay, I need to really find something stable, sex work is something I can handle. However, I have my boundaries, and also, I want something that's a bit more stable, and that's something that has longevity for me. So I thought, okay, I know that there are a lot of older doms. I'm curious, and also I kind of was kind of like exploring kink websites at the time too.
Right.
And I thought, okay, this is an option, but I was scared. I didn't think I could handle it. And I guess the sort of big catalyst was when I met this like older gentleman on a website that doesn't exist anymore, but it used to exist. It's called collarme.com.
Okay.
And he sort of is like an older guy. He seemed really harmless, and we're friends today still. And so he knew a lot of sort of doms before they kind of started and before they became successful. And his thing was, he's like a really true submissive, where he really doesn't want a session in the sense that he doesn't want to tell me what to do. So he said, I will pay for your time, but just, do whatever feels fun for you. Like, that's what he liked.
Okay.
And that kind of gave me a sort of first real life hands-on taste. And I kind of thought, okay, well, maybe I overthought it. Maybe it's not going to be as difficult. I was still terrified. But I was in a situation where I was like, okay, not much to lose. Schooling is not working out, whatever. And I was just itching to be immersed in something, have a career, because I'm a very ambitious person still. Right. And kink was the one area I haven't explored fully yet, and I was curious about it, and I just invested my webcamming money into some equipment. I had already beautiful pictures because I've done a lot of modeling,
right.
So I made a website, I had a good presentation, I advertised in the right places, because that guy told me where to advertise, and it was pretty easy to find too. And It took off pretty quickly.
So how did you learn? Like, do you watch videos? Do you have a mentor, someone who's in the industry that kind of teaches you, okay, what's the basics? And
Is there a course?
No, well, I mean, there are courses that people offer. So for me, it was different. A lot of people will apprentice if somebody, like if a dom allows them, not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody likes to share their thing. I wouldn't necessarily want to apprentice somebody at this point. But for me, I was very inexperienced and I didn't even watch any BDSM porn or anything like that. And this is going to sound kind of maybe odd, but I kind of it came to me. I learned by doing, and it kind of honestly, like even within like 2 months, people that have been sessioning for like 20 years were just like, I could see it in their face, and they were also telling me like, you're like one of the most professional doms I've ever like experienced. And I was like, are you kidding me? And yeah, so it kind of seemed to come naturally to me. But I mean, I also did a little bit of research, but mostly it was kind of intuitive for me because I'm very careful, I'm very empathic, and I didn't just push somebody too far. Like I kind of knew intuitively, okay, you don't do this inherently. This is unsafe. I didn't need to read that specifically. Right. So.
You look like you're itching to ask a question.
No, I'm just still
just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't necessarily advise anybody to jump into it like me. I don't think I'm the rule. I think I may be the exception. Right. And I don't know why it came so naturally to me, but.
So do you think you were already a very sexual person to begin with? That's how you were like, this is one avenue that's really I could go for?
Yeah, like is this strictly professional, or is this something that you were interested in personally as well?
Well, I am a kinky person now, but I wasn't very aware of kink before I started. No. Okay. It sort of became something of interest afterwards, after I started. And also that's kind of a difficult question because usually when people ask me, were you a sexual person before, they're mostly asking me for the whole before or after accident thing. So you should clarify what you're asking specifically. Okay. Because right now I'm getting a lot of questions to do with that too. So
sure. So why don't we just jump into that then and maybe clarify some of that up?
Yeah, sure. So that it's not super vague to people who've never heard
exactly,
of me.
Exactly. So, so you recently had a case.
Well, finish it.
Yeah. You really.
So it was an ICBC case you had. It took 7 years to settle?
6-ish, 7-ish.
Yeah, and I guess the background on it was you were in a car with your boyfriend at the time.
My mom's boyfriend.
Your mom's boyfriend.
Some article said my boyfriend.
Okay.
Said my mom's boyfriend.
So it was your mom's boyfriend.
Yes.
And he was driving, lost control, and you guys ended up in a ditch.
That was a weird way they phrased it. What happened was it flipped over 3 times. The car was completely totaled, and I hit my head really badly, basically. I don't know how you just get into a ditch and...
That's what the Vancouver Sun article said, I think. So
yeah, I'm going to clarify a lot of it, but it wasn't just... I mean, maybe he got into a ditch and then it flipped. I don't know, but all I know is that, it was that kind of
And did he have insurance or no? I think some things he did have insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of the questions on there were, people were confused. Who are they suing exactly? And it's the insurance of the defendant.
Right.
Okay, so 6-7 years finally settled, and the case was you got into this profession because of your brain injury.
Well, yeah, but it's sort of not the same way that they kind of described in the articles.
Okay.
I feel that they made it seem... well, first of all, they missed a really important factor of just me being a disabled woman and having financial difficulties.
Right.
That was just kind of completely skipped. It was kind of presented as purely a choice. Yeah. I'm not denying that sort of my increased interest in sexuality sort of influenced the directions that I went into after the car accident, but a huge influence was also just sex work fits me health-wise because it's something that I don't have to do 9 to 5. I can, even with webcamming, you can log on when you feel like it, So stuff like that does fit me, but there was also an aspect of that being a release. I don't know which one influences it more. I would say the finances were the more urgent thing.
Yeah. Right. Because of the disability.
Well, yes. But sort of, how do I put this? The way I see it is my personal interest in kink has more to do with the brain injury and the sexual change after the car accident than me sessioning with strangers that I don't really have any personal relationship with.
Right.
I'm not really it's not really about my personal satisfaction in those cases. It's about really meeting their personal satisfaction.
Gotcha.
Right,
So,
and treating it like you said, like a professional.
Well,
right?
it really is, like, it's a service I provide.
Yeah.
I'm not really, none of them are my boyfriend. It's not the same thing.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I was going to ask. So after when your brain changed and you became more sexual and went down this road, were you in like physical pain as well? So with that physical pain you were in, and then you became a dominatrix, did becoming a dominatrix help with that pain? Let me rephrase. Did it the acts you were doing on these men, for example, the things you were performing on, did that release any sort of tension you had, physically, mentally, emotionally, or?
Well, okay, so first of all, to clarify, the physical pain I feel is generally migraines, headaches. I have neck pain because my sort of on the left side of my neck, there's a lot of like muscles that are kind of apparently wrapped around the bone, and it's constantly intense, and then it kind of travels down to the shoulder area. Directly for the physical part, the sessions, I don't see how they would help. The only thing that helps is medication. But I would say that, yeah, like at first it was I did find it that becoming a dominatrix, which is like kind of a more sexualized job, made me feel like I didn't have to hide my increased interest in sexuality in general as much, whereas before I kind of felt like I had to maybe not talk about it as much because it would be seen as like, being obsessed or whatever. It's looked down upon. And for me, it wasn't really just about like the physical urges. It's because I'm a very like thinking kind of person. It made me kind of want to study it. It made me want to be like, I was studying to be a sex therapist. I was trying to in school and stuff.
Okay. Cool.
Stuff like that. So it's a mental thing for me as well. So it kind of allowed me to maybe like focus more of my energy on that and have that be excused because, hey, this is my job or whatever.
Right.
So
you're saying you can actually pinpoint a change in your sexuality after the accident?
Yeah, it really, I started to get to know a different person after I hit my head, and it took a long time to kind of learn all of the new quirks and differences, and much more so get used to them.
So was there shame in that, or was it just, yeah?
Especially, for sure. For like one of the things I struggled with for a long time was shame, because sort of before the accident I was quite like, I was raised in a very conservative Russian environment, so my idea of especially female sexuality was very terrible.
Right.
So when I was starting to have all these different needs that I didn't used to feel, I was basically, quote unquote, becoming one of those girls. And so to me, I was like, oh my God, this is, so that was like a huge thing that it took me a while to get over, and I suppressed it for a long time. Then I kind of discovered a bit, different sort of thought patterns, female liberation, all that stuff. So that helped, but it still took a long time to get rid of that internalized shame.
Right. And
I still at times feel it, because you are like, we do live in this environment that's really like, as soon as you are a sexual, female, especially a female that gets money for your sexuality, you are like a subhuman being. And it was part of the reason why I quit doing sort of any nude modeling. I just couldn't handle being treated like that. I'm treated just slightly more human now that I don't get naked on camera.
Right, but
it's interesting.
But I imagine there's still a lot of scrutiny.
Oh, of course, yeah. For sure.
So then, give me like one big myth that if you could just kind of tell people, hey, like, this isn't the case, what would that be?
About which specifically?
About the profession, about, like you said, it seems like society kind of says, hey, if you're a woman who is very open with her sexuality and comfortable with it, then a lot of shame comes with that, or people try and put shame on you for that. I don't really know what my question is. I guess I'm just wondering, as far as there's a lot of misconceptions I'm sure that you face.
Right.
And if you had to kind of squash one of those myths, like what is the one thing that you would want people to know that
well, I guess, how do I explain this without making it sound confusing? There seems to be this kind of weird attitude towards sex workers that I've noticed, that it's sort of like people want to separate themselves from that kind, from that so much. They want to convince themselves that they'd never ever find themselves in this position.
Right.
And that's, on one hand, fair enough to say that you're not comfortable with these things. But I want to say is that, like, I am also a regular girl. I also get uncomfortable by the same things that you guys get uncomfortable with. I tolerate some stuff with my work, just like any job has its level of, tolerating whatever, And I was also once a person, and a lot of sex workers, as I've heard, were also once people who thought they'd never ever be able to, do this.
Right.
So we aren't really this kind of different species of human, and I feel like kind of the way people look at that is very dehumanizing. It kind of like, I don't know, it's a weird mental thing that people do to separate themselves, and kind of, it feels odd being treated like that. It feels very, I don't know, it's very uncomfortable.
So when you have a client come in, because you've been doing it for a while now, do you still get, or maybe you were never like this, but do you ever get nervous?
Yeah.
Do you get butterflies in your stomach? And when you see a client come in, do you automatically know what he's going to be into and what his boundaries probably are?
Well, there's no assuming there. First of all, they fill out a questionnaire before we even meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I tell them if there's something on there I'm uncomfortable with. And then, so after the questionnaire, they, show up, and then there's like a 5-minute talking period for sure. And I kind of really want to read their body language and kind of get a sense of them. And then hopefully they are responsive enough that I can learn about them fairly quickly within the session, so that, I can give them the best session that I can. But I do get nervous, but more so because I want it to be good, and, an hour or 2 hours can be a long time.
Right.
So you really gotta come up with interesting and mind-blowing things to do.
Right.
And that can be, like, if I'm maybe, like, tired that day or something, that can be really difficult sometimes.
So what are some of the more common things? Like, if there's kind of the common denominator, is it getting kicked in the balls? Is it, like, what is kind of...
Strap-on. Guys really seem to like strap-on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Really common. Not necessarily my favorite, because guys tend to be not good at cleaning themselves out. That's like a really unglamorous part of it.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So I guess you have to use a different strap-on each time, or...
No, I use a condom on a strap-on, and then I, take it off, clean it, stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess... I imagine a lot of them are straight men, right? That come in?
Well, they
almost
all
all.
are,
Yeah, so I imagine they don't know about cleaning themselves. Straight guys probably wouldn't know about that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, an enema is an enema, though. It's like, I don't know. The thing is, like, I've had, like, very few female clients, but I've never had that problem with them. It's like, it seems like they have clean asses, and I don't know how that's a thing. I don't know if it's like a nutritional thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But guys seem to be blocked up a lot, and I'm like, don't you feel it?
Well,
I don't get it.
The porn star James Dean, he was on Adam Carolla's podcast, and he said before every video he does, he takes an enema.
Right.
And just cleans himself out.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So he feels lighter.
Does he do gay porn too?
No, he just does it so he feels cleaner, and if the girls are giving him a rim job, whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's good.
And plus,
you gotta take care of yourself.
Plus, guys are generally hairier.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're going to have... Yeah, they probably don't want to go down there anyway. Anyway,
exactly. So you should make it welcoming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But it just seems like even after an enema, it's often there's some sort of an issue, because a strap-on goes so far that, like, you might not know what's up that far. So it's not my favorite thing to do for that reason. Another common thing is, like, foot fetish. Not a lot of guys are actually into pain, at least not in Vancouver. I
can see that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an area thing. There, Vancouver is not as big of a city as, say, like New York, so
right.
I might have a different experience there. Ball busting is kind of like somewhere around there. I haven't had too many of those sessions, but I've had a few of those.
Is that awkward? Like, how do you like?
Oh no, I love ball busting.
You do?
Hey.
Okay.
How hard to kick though? Like, what's the?
Yeah.
Like, do you go full force?
No, I start a little bit. Especially if I haven't seen the client before. I'm careful, and that's sort of, there is, you don't just kick the way that you would kick somebody if they're attacking you. There's like a special way to kick someone. And yeah, so I start like slower, and I read their body language. I'm constantly watching the person, and then if I see kind of that barely moved them, and I'll try it harder. Or if I see they're like, some guys get really hard for ball busting, so then I'm like, okay, I can see that you're more comfortable. So it's not awkward in that sense. I've gotten comfortable with my ability to read that stuff. And also there's always the safe words, but I've never really had somebody use it.
Right.
So do the women come in by themselves? Do they come in with a partner?
Usually with a partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do the women prefer having done versus the men? Is it still strap-on or?
No, let's see. Usually if a woman comes in, it's either, well, I'd say like the one time a girl came alone, she was a client's wife, so she wanted to kind of meet me and session with me, and then they wanted to do a couple session after at some point. And with her, I think it was, I don't know, sensation play. We did do some strap-on. She was into that. And stuff, and I'm more comfortable with like women, so I made out with her and stuff like that. So I, when I used to do couple sessions, I told the guy straight up, I'm like, I'm not touching you like that, but your wife, totally up for it.
Right.
Sorry. And so sometimes, I've had girls come in with their partner who wanted to have a first bisexual experience, and they thought, I had nice pictures, and they wanted to kind of, I don't know, just get introduced into this whole thing.
Right.
One girl who read 50 Shades of Grey came in with her husband, and they had a few sessions, which was nice.
And see, that's the big thing right now. Everyone's going crazy over 50 Shades of Grey. It's making tons of money at the box office.
Yeah.
Where does the stuff in 50 Shades of Grey rank on what you do? Like, is it a pretty tame version, or is it a pretty accurate depiction?
How do I put this? Well, first of all, Christian Grey is not professionally
right. So
also like so it's different. Also, he's kind of a creepy and stalkerish person, and I wouldn't consider myself like that. I'm
right.
much
Yeah.
more...
So it wouldn't be a fair comparison. But I guess if we're comparing kind of the acts.
Some of them are, I suppose, accurate. He didn't do them particularly well, but flogging. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't much in the movie, was there? There was just a little bit of flogging, and what else did they do? I think he cropped her once backhandedly, which was weird.
So what is flogging?
Using a flogger.
Okay.
Demonstration?
So
no.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I meant on you guys.
You have to have quite a few floggers. Is there one in particular you like the most? Is there one that's the most comfortable to use?
Well, they're all fairly comfortable to use. I like the one that's like has the corset handle. It's pretty, but it really depends on the client's tolerance.
Is there one that men prefer the most?
No, it depends on everybody's pain tolerance. Some are just more painful, and they kind of produce a different reaction. So I would generally gauge that.
Is that one over there made out of bamboo? Is that a bamboo flogger? That beige one on the corner? Like this one over here.
Point to what you're talking about.
This guy over here.
Oh, that's just the whatchamacallit.
Is that just
more of a cane
thing. Okay.
But yeah, that's bamboo. Hurts quite a bit.
So if someone is never so Erfan has if he was to experience this world for the first time, like what would he start off with?
I would just spank him first and just see how he reacts to pain, and then I'd go from there.
Okay.
It's important to warm somebody up, because the more aroused they are, the more pain they can tolerate, and the more pain will actually cause pleasure because of the endorphins. But if you start whacking somebody right away, they're just going to be scared of it, and they're going to kind of shell up and get like uncomfortable, and that's not what you want. You want to get them really warmed up and excited and talk and say things that they want to hear, and then a lot of them discover they like pain a lot more than they thought. They just never had it inflicted the right way.
Right.
Well, as Jason knows, I hate needles.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So I don't do needles. But...
Yeah, I think that's a very separate thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So is there something that you can kind of walk us through? Like an example of like just something simple?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay.
My favorite toy is a violet wand, and I can, just do like a quick demonstration.
Sure. Yeah, let's see the violet wand.
And let's see, where do I... Oh, okay. Should I start with the regular attachment? Or yeah, I'll start with the regular attachment, and then we'll work up from there. There we go. Okay. So I'll test it out on myself first. Then
Okay.
one of you guys can
And so what does this do?
Well, it's electricity.
Electricity. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not as scary as it sounds.
Okay.
I promise. I like it. I like the way it feels, and I'll adjust the intensity to start very low first. God damn it, what are you not doing?
I've got kids, so,
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, that's probably a bit high.
It just looks scary to me.
Yeah.
No, like if it's very low, like I can barely feel this. So if one of you wants
I think my insurance policy might be voided.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll take one for the team and
to. Like,
yeah.
you know, like you see me, like I'm not some crazy.
No, it's not that at all. I'm just a scaredy cat. That's all. It has nothing to do with you.
But it's actually really like it's a cool feeling. I find it energizing personally. Yeah, so you can just hold the mic.
You guys can probably hear it on the podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of a buzzing sound.
Yeah.
It looks like a food mixer. And the edge is kind of like circular.
That's a very low setting.
Yeah,
You
it
can
is.
handle more.
Yeah, we can probably go up a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to try it more?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah. All right, we're on to something.
All right.
And so, like, say somebody's into like pain in their testicles or something, you can do, you know.
Yeah, see, I don't think I'd be ready for that.
No, I just mean this can
This
be
is arm for today.
No, but that's what I was going to ask you. So is that typically? So we're doing it on my forearm. Obviously, people can't see, but that would typically be.
It could be either for
balls.
pain or for pleasure. No, it's for whole body. I just mean that it can be
Okay.
used for pain or pleasure. It depends where and how the person reacts to it. And another attachment I really, really like for this, and I like showing it to people.
So what did it feel? What did it feel like?
It's like little, like kind of pins and needles. You know that feeling when you get pins and needles? Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost
But
like
was
a.
this more pleasurable than?
Yeah, I almost felt like a tickle.
Okay.
Yeah, but like a prickly tickle.
Yeah, unfortunately, these things they wear out pretty quickly.
Be like me with my beard on your arm.
Yeah.
You guys often rub between
No, we don't want to give the wrong impression here.
No, I'm just joking.
Okay, so with this, it's I would need your arm again.
Okay. And so what is this thing? This is the same thing, but.
So I'm the conductor.
Oh, okay. So it's actually coming from your fingertips.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I have the thing attached to my body here through.
Okay. So for those that you can't see, so she's got the same contraption, but then it's hooked onto your waist?
It's hooked on right here. Yeah, like.
It's hooked on, and so then you're acting as the conductor for the electricity. So
Yeah.
you're touching my arm right now with your fingertips, and it's giving me an electric
pretty
shock.
cool.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Ooh! Ah!
So yeah, you need a little bit of distance.
That is pretty cool, yeah.
Try it.
Yeah, you
See
can
if you
handle
see
that.
Well, I gotta take off my sweat. I got 3 layers under me. That'd be cool. Okay, do it right there. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
This is cool that we get the experiences because, as she said, a lot of people have misconceptions. Woo!
I thought maybe I'd shoot a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, but that's cool that we get to experience that. 'Cause a lot of
Yeah.
people have misconceptions of what
I can
it is.
still kind of feel it tingling. Since we're up, why don't you take us to your other room?
Sure.
And maybe you can show us what goes on over here.
Okay. Well, except for these wonky lights that I don't need.
So this looks like some sort of swing type of
Yeah, so
contraption.
this is like a leather sex swing or, a hammock, whatever you want it to be.
Right.
But generally it's a sex swing. And then this is like a kind of suspension frame type thing where you can kind of use it for whatever. It's got a lot of different places for restraints, rope, anything you want. And it's also got like a built-in rigging system right there. And then this is a leather bodysuit.
So this would be like a more advanced session.
No, it's just
This would okay.
not really because you can use it as mild as you want. You could just use it for restraining somebody.
Right.
So I guess somebody gets on their back here,
Yeah.
right? And then they would probably have you put on a strap on and
Yeah.
have sex with them that way. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, usually this has been for personal use, really.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's better for girls, but for guys, yeah, you can do it like that if they want to have the missionary experience.
Right.
And then that thing is kind of like a metal stockade thing. You can put a Hitachi there or something.
Okay.
And your neck would go here, kind of restrained.
Right.
And you'd have restraints here, but I just don't have them right now. And then they would be here at the bottom, so they'd be totally kind of immobilized and yeah.
Cool. All right.
Cool. So is this where you also do photo shoots as well, or?
I see a lot of pictures on the wall. I will say they're very lovely pictures.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do a lot of shoots in my place here, but these lights are I'm trying to sell them off because I only use the other ones in the living room. Wink,
All right.
wink.
Yeah. Well, let's go sit back on our gothic couch. I still got some tingling going up my arm.
Oh wow.
I like it.
That's good.
So
Maybe I've introduced you to something you're going to enjoy.
yeah, where do you get something like that? Is that a special?
Sisters
Okay.
or something like that. Sex stores have them generally.
Okay. So just to wrap up the case, so we obviously kind of heard about the car accident, the brain injury, and kind of how that changed your sexuality.
Yeah, and the media crap that happened.
Yeah, and so so kind of now let's fast forward to now. So obviously, what happened from it? What was the outcome?
You mean
from the case?
The judge awarded my mom and I money. So
Great.
He believed that. All the obvious evidence was in fact, conclusive and stuff.
Right.
Which I'll be clarifying in the media because they kind of really presented the whole case really in an odd way. The judge certainly didn't award me money for becoming a dominatrix. That's not how it works.
And that's definitely how the media is going to spin it, right? So, like you said
that's
about
really odd.
Yeah. And so, what was the money awarded for?
Pain and suffering, medical expenses, future, like in case I can't work or whatever happens with my, so that I, don't have to work in like this industry if I don't want to or whatever.
Right.
And just basically, like the basic life stuff, I guess.
And so just again, and if I got this wrong, certainly correct me, but I mean, I think it's not that the car accident made you go be a dominatrix per se. It was more that the disability and some of the pain and suffering that you're going through didn't allow you to do a 9-to-5 job.
No,
and
for sure.
And therefore you needed to survive somehow.
Well,
and like you said, sex work fit that lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Is that inaccurate?
I would say so. Yeah, like that's the majority of the reason, because really if it was just about my personal needs, I could have just been kinky in my personal life and that's it.
Right.
That would have been more personally satisfying.
So where are you going to go from here? So I know you have some other stuff. You talked about modeling a little bit. I know you do videos and things like that. So what's the next step in your career?
I'm dealing with the media thing and just going to see how that goes. There's some interest in like doing like a life story, like one of those Lifetime things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe a reality show. We'll see. Like I did get in touch with an agent and I'm working with one right now.
Cool.
And sort of the interviews are sort of the first part of that, publicity and also clarifying the story. And kind of at the same time, I'm still doing the videos because it's something I can kind of do safely, not involve anybody.
Right.
And so I don't see a need to quit that just yet, but I'm not sessioning too much right now. And yeah, I'm also working on a book.
Cool.
Yeah. So I kind of...
And the book is going to be about your story or just some of your experiences?
Well, probably both, but, kind of answering in more detail just what invisible disabilities are about. But mostly I think people just want to hear about the saucy, sexy stuff. So it'll probably be a huge chunk of it.
Yeah. They want the 50 Shades of Grey type stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
Except I'm Christina Grey, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
The video stuff I read a lot about, and it seems like a lot of girls do it just because it's safe.
Yeah.
Obviously, and they make good money. Mm-hmm. And apparently you can hide your location. So if you don't want people from like BC, Alberta, whatever to know, so you just block off those provinces.
Well, that's for webcamming.
Oh, okay.
Is webcamming? Okay.
Clip Store doesn't work like that.
Okay.
So I have a Clip Store. Webcamming,
Gotcha.
you can do that. They don't have to enter your room if you don't want that area. But for Clips for Sale, it's everywhere.
Okay.
So I have like 3 Clip Stores. Two are most active ones, and that's kind of the majority of my work right now.
What do you charge normally for your clips?
It's based on the time, and there's kind of like a automated, like they generate like a minimum that you have to charge per. Usually it's about $1 a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a 10-minute clip would be $10 or $10.99. Yeah.
So you mentioned before, obviously being your background and kind of being a little bit more conservative, and especially with sexuality and things like that. And I'm interested. So something kind of making news right now is the Ontario government recently changed the sex ed curriculum, and it's got a lot of people up in arms. Or Erfan, if I don't know if you've heard about this, but right? So I mean, people are up in arms because they want to teach kids at a younger age about things like anal sex, oral sex, the dangers of sexting. So as early as grade 1, kind of teaching them like the proper names for body parts, teaching them about respectful touching, which I think is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then by the time you're in grade 7, knowing everything from puberty to also knowing about sexting, what a healthy relationship is, same-sex stuff, sexual orientation. I see it as a positive. I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to have that conservative, we don't want to teach our kids about sex, they shouldn't be hearing this at a young age. I'm just kind of wondering, you know, I know I'm just giving you a brief description. You haven't had a chance to read all of it, but I mean...
If it's being taught in a positive way, yeah, I think it's great. I think that sex only becomes like a very negative thing when the adults act like it is.
Yes.
It's kind of... And, I mean, statistics have shown that, like, not teaching about, like, you know, contraception actually increases unwanted pregnancies anyways, so you're not really going to stop teenagers from having sex. You should probably just give them the safe ways to do it, and maybe just even teach them, like, okay, like, you know, you don't have to do it before you're ready, like, even stuff like that.
I mean, for me, it seems like, okay, people want to just, okay, don't make them aware of this stuff. Yeah. But the reality is they're going to learn it from the internet or TV. So they might as well learn it in a healthy environment and get the proper information, I guess is what I'm seeing, right?
That's
and
very true.
It seems like there's a lot of good stuff because it's going to help with that bullying stuff and teaching about self-worth. Hey, you don't need to send naked sex to get someone to like you and that sort of thing.
And I think
you have a daughter.
Yeah, I'd be terrified if she ever did it, like, got the sexting or sending naked photos of herself.
But if she's going to school, she'll be going to school in a few years. Yeah. And if she was learning this stuff in school, like, would you be upset with that?
No, like, I think it's really good. That's why I don't want her to... Because with Snapchat and things like that,
right.
These girls just send out photos thinking it's there for like 2 seconds, but you can still capture it and save it.
Right.
Right? And I think with the boys, too, some boys have been charged with, like, possessing child porn. So it's beneficial for them to know as well, hey, I shouldn't be doing this shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good for everybody.
And the part I like is it's teaching about the emotional part of it.
Yeah.
The emotional part of sex and what a healthy relationship looks like. And, again, that self-worth and, you know, sexual orientation, and so that there's respect for all of that stuff. So, I don't know. I see it as a positive, but I think, like you said before, with your line of work and with just sex in general, I think a lot of people want to sweep it under the rug.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of ignore it. So
they do, and it's kind of it does more harm than good. So
yeah. Erfan, any burning questions before we start wrapping?
No, I was
up?
actually really happy we came because just having her tap my hand, that was pretty cool. And you know, you
that
definitely
blew your mind.
It did, well, because you definitely come in thinking it's all about pain and stuff, but that was just that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
but.
So now you're ready for some flogging.
Yeah, totally.
No, a lot of people really don't like pain. Like it can be about just their fetish sometimes. Like some people just want to have, I don't know, boots and lick them and do stuff like that. They just specifically say no pain or whatever.
Right.
That's just a stereotype. I mean, I wish there were more pain clients because it's more creative, but most of the time it's kind of like, okay.
So is there a common theme? I know you can't obviously maybe talk specifics, but I mean, did you notice a certain age group of your clients or like a certain background? Like, is it CEOs of companies? Is it like just the average guy? Is it kind of the whole gamut? Or?
Usually older, more successful guys. Also because, like, you know, it's quite an expensive hobby to have, so you know, probably that weeds out some people.
Right.
But generally, I have the more kind of boss type guys, which is, I think, part of a stereotype, but it's the truth.
Right. Well, and then we've thrown that idea around. That's the reason I've asked, is that there is that stereotype that it tends to be kind of older men in positions of power that want to be dominated. Yeah. So I was just curious if that was accurate.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Okay. So before we wrap it up here, I mean, I just want to kind of throw it to you if there's anything that you want to add to this or get out there, or anything you want to kind of clarify and make people aware of.
Don't pirate porn. It's not good. You're not entitled to free porn, and there's no such thing as free porn. There's only stolen porn.
Right.
And I want to thank everybody who does purchase from clip stores like mine.
Right.
Because, you know, there are obviously people who understand that, which is great. And to the rest, stop pirating. Your
it's a business.
Will fall off.
It'll fall off or get bitten off or chopped off.
No, I'm not. I definitely won't be. If I were to go after every pirate out there, that would be a new day job. That wouldn't even work for me.
Yeah. But you know what? Sex is the oldest profession around, and that's why it's funny to me that it's still kind of taboo. Because I mean, if you look at any period of time, it's always kind of existed. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, it's this natural urge. Right? Everybody wants sex.
Well, we're sexual beings.
Want it for free.
Yes.
That's the issue, is like they want it for free, and what I find is that they're just for some guys, like some guys are really cool about it, but some guys like will have this real anger. They'll find it offensive that like they have to pay for a service. They think they're special, or that they should be, or that they're entitled to my time. And it's like, do you come to a lawyer and say, hey, don't you like me? Why don't you do this for free? Like, kind of...
Well, those are the same guys that don't normally get dates anyway, right? They're usually... I know that type of guy, because I have a few friends like that, and they're the same type of guy that they never get dates, they're miserable their whole life, blah, 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 so...
Well, hopefully, because it can be quite scary when somebody just kind of like acts like that towards you, and it's very confusing. Because I'm like, this is a service. This is you're not entitled to it.
To you, or did they do that in person to you, or is it?
Well, in person, not as much, because I just generally don't like I don't inherently like go and advertise or whatever. It's more if somebody makes like a comment that's like, oh, you're dominatrix zone, don't be dominating me, and I'll be like, don't worry, you haven't given me $250 yet. And then they'll just, that's when they start to get like weird, or usually though online, like if a guy starts like saying all these like inappropriate sexual things to me, and then I'll just like get frustrated and I'll send him a link to my clip store just to like make him fuck off or whatever. And that's when like the misogyny starts. It's just like, oh, it's so, screw you, you whore. You think I'm gonna pay for that crap? I can get it for free. It's like I'm this hot stud. I'm like, okay, that's nice to know.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's the it always seems to go back to the turning into shame and trying to like, put you down and
So
well, I can say from our experience here, I mean, you seem very professional.
Thank
and
you.
you represent yourself very well, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. You have interesting hair.
Oh, thanks. It's real.
Yeah, that's what. So where can people find your stuff? So since you talked about obviously paying for porn and things like that, okay. where if people wanted to kind of check you out, where can they check you out?
SashaMizaree.com will have all my general links from Clipsor to session information to ways to spoil me or whatever. Some people like to financial domination. So. That's kind of like a concise way where you can get all the other clips.
Awesome. So I was going to wrap it up, but now you've piqued my interest with financial domination.
Sure. Do you have a specific time frame for this, or is this...
No, we can just kind of freeform it here. So we won't take up too much more of your time, but financial domination. Explain what that is.
Generally, it's for distance people, so that they don't live near you, they can't book a session with you.
Okay.
Or they might want to do it like a webcam thing. I'm not really into webcam sessions because of time difference, and just it's hard to schedule. Right. But financial domination at its core is somebody who how do I explain this, gets off on I guess giving their money to a woman they perceive as superior, and there's certain kind of archetypes that come with that. Sort of my persona on my clip store is something that's very common for my age group, which is the bratty, sort of cheerleader-like, snobby type whatever, and that's what they kind of tend to enjoy.
Okay.
That sort of, they want to feel like I'm just, so seductive and confident that, like, I'm making them want to spend, and they're losing control of, like, the thing that really enslaves their life, which is their money. And that's, like, the ultimate loss of control. Interesting. But then another problem is, like, some guys, apparently, like, I've heard, like, get really addicted to it. It's kind of like gambling in a way, except not really gambling because you're not getting it back. Anyway.
So Erfan, you were kind of into financial domination without even knowing it.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was blowing money on women like in my 20s on my credit cards, just going on.
Was it getting you off specifically with the spending of it?
No, it had nothing to do with that. I was just trying to get them to like me. So I was blowing a ton of money.
The act of spending itself turns them on.
Yeah.
Like they like that. Some guys will like, there's different intensities for some guys. Like some guys, for them, it's like a life thing. Like they want you to. It's very rare, but they want you to like put them on the budget, all these different things. Some guys will just kind of have a thing for like tributing you, getting you a gift card, or like binging on a lot of your clips. But sort of the thing for them is basically you are this like superior goddess to them in their fantasy, and you should have more than them. And sort of like some of the things that I would say in a video is like, you toil away at your work and I just so effortlessly take it because I'm so pretty and all this other stuff, which sounds ridiculous, but it's it's in a context.
Yeah, totally.
So that can be that was really interesting for me to discover that's a thing, but Yeah.
Everything men can never do.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I haven't seen too many female financial slaves or any.
Well, just there's no penis and men. I don't think there's any value to it.
No, it's, we're everywhere. There's no
So what other categories are there? So there's obviously the traditional BDSM
for videos or for live sessions, because those are different things.
Okay, well, let's start with the videos.
Sure.
So there's the financial domination.
Yes.
What else? What other categories?
There would be the foot fetish,
Okay.
which will, like literally my feet will be the forefront of the video.
Okay.
And, stuff like that. I'll talk about whatever the fetish might be. There's cuckolding.
What's cuckolding for those who don't know?
It's when a woman, traditionally it's when like a married woman can have sex with other men, or it might even be in front of the husband, and he's sort of the cuckold. A lot of guys really love that fantasy. So since I only do videos that are like POV and no other people in them,
right.
It's talking based. So I'll create a certain scenario. I'm talking to the guy and I'll maybe tell him about like these great dates I've had or something like that, whatever. Jerk off instruction is a big thing. What else? There's really many. There's just general humiliation, like there would be sexual rejection, all these different things.
I've had a lot of rejection in my life. I don't know if that's something I'd pay for.
Small penis humiliation is a big thing.
I didn't have that. Okay, let's clarify that.
I believe you. But yeah, that's like surprisingly common. So like they'll really get like they really like it somehow. What else would there be?
So which one is the most revenue generating category?
Oh, it really depends. I think
Is there one that you find is more successful than the others? Like jerk off instruction?
Jerk off instruction is quite, I would say that generally, like the thing is you can make a lot of videos jerk off instruction, and I tend to make most of my videos jerk off instruction.
Right.
They just might be like, this one is with small penis humiliation, this one is with cuckolding.
Okay.
But generally the videos I do the best are where there is JOI as abbreviated.
Okay.
In it. So,
JOI.
Yeah.
All right.
New term.
Yeah, I learned something new. Okay.
Yeah, and kind of like a lot of people find it really crazy, but like I never get naked in my videos.
Right.
Like there's nothing. It's not like porn in the standard sense.
Right.
I don't even really know what to call it, but I guess it is like a softcore type porn.
Right.
Fetish video maybe is another way to say.
And that's the same in the live sessions, right? You're not performing sex at all. It's strictly providing a service of
like the fetish realm. And like I have certain boundaries. Like I said, that's why I don't even go with a face sitting thing or whatever, because that's a little too like I strictly say on my website, no intimate body worship and no like escorting of any kind.
Right. So the stuff that you do on video, does that translate into a live session?
Yeah.
So is there like live jerk off instruction or live foot fetish?
Yeah. I mean, in a session, like I think the videos use a lot of verbals, and that's a big part of a session as well.
Okay.
Always. Because it's a lot of it is mental, and you really have to say the right things, and it can really have a powerful effect on someone.
I totally believe that when it comes to sex, that a lot of it is mental. Mm-hmm. It is a bit more mental than physical, I think, in some cases.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the clientele for the videos. That's why like people get confused. They're like, "What? You don't even like? Do you like masturbate?" It's like, no. Like, do you do anything? Like, well, yes, I do a lot. It's just not that kind of thing. What I stimulate is their brain.
Yeah.
And for somebody who has a foot fetish, this is enough of a porno. They don't need anything else but my foot and my voice and my attitude that hits their specific spots. That's more like they will not be that excited by just a regular vanilla,
I can see that because as men, I think we have a ton of images already built into our brain that I could see that you would want the words.
Yeah.
Like something like the instruction stuff. I could see that. Like, at any moment you can flip into some sort of image in your head.
Yeah.
But you can't flip into a scenario necessarily where a woman's talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's something that kind of like makes me feel more proud of my video work, because it does take real skill to learn to talk like that. And because I'm improvising everything like each and every time. And it took a while to be able to just turn on the camera, have a vague idea of what it's about, and like come up with this spiel for 15 minutes, like just talking to the camera.
Right. Well, you're very articulate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Erfan, any questions?
No, she's answered almost all of them.
Yeah. And then some. Yeah. Okay, so
JOI,
I think
new term.
JOI, exactly. Yeah. So SashaMizaree.com.
Yes.
People can go there. They can find all these clips that you've talked about. We'll add the site in our little description of the podcast as well.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So again, thanks for your time.
No problem.
And it was awesome. And yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Well, that's it from us. Another edition of the Bus Stop Podcast, although this one was a special one live on location. And I'm Jason.
I'm Erfan.
And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.